North Carolina or South Carolina? Both states have Southern charm, but which one's right for you? Well, today we're putting them head to head, from the mountains to the beaches, from the politics to the culture, from the income to the cost of housing. I'll give you the facts, the local flavor, and a running score after each round. By the end of this video, you'll know which Carolina you belong in. So starting with round one is income. So let's start with the one thing nobody wants to talk about, but everybody cares about: your potential paycheck. Now, North Carolina's got Charlotte and Raleigh, which are major job centers. Actually, that's what brought me here, was work. And salaries are just higher here. Now, South Carolina does have Charleston and some industrial hubs, but North Carolina is going to take the win by a mile. But what good is a big paycheck if everything costs more? So let's talk about living costs. Which one's going to give you better bang for your buck? Well, South Carolina is definitely a little bit cheaper for rent, groceries, and gas. And if you work remote, your money will go further here. North Carolina's getting a little pricey, a little bit quick, especially in the Charlotte and Raleigh area, because so many people want to be here. But in South Carolina, you're going to get more savings, a little bit less stress when it comes to bills. While South Carolina is going to save you money on those monthly expenditures, what about taxes? Because it's not what you make, it's what you keep, right? In North Carolina, we do have a flat 4.25% income tax rate. And it's actually, fun fact, it has gotten lower every year for the last 15 years. It used to be, I think, over 7%. It's down to 4.25 this year. Next year, it's going to be 3.99. And if the state hits goals, it could keep going down. Now, South Carolina has tax brackets which make it a little bit more complicated system, but the number to know is it's 6.2% on income over $17,000. So the paychecks are one thing. You're going to keep more in North Carolina than South Carolina, but what about owning a home? Because if you own a home or you want to own a home, then this one's going to hit your wallet every year, every month. And South Carolina is admittedly one of the cheapest states for property taxes in the entire US. I think it's the 6th or 7th cheapest one. And North Carolina's are still reasonable, but they're not quite that low. So in South Carolina, less taxes, more house, but how much is the house itself going to cost? Which state's going to give you more home for your money? Now, when I first came here, especially growing up in the Midwest, I'm used to super cheap homes, and then I lived all over, including New York, which is like some of the most expensive homes you can possibly buy. But in the Carolinas, it's really cheap, both North Carolina and South Carolina. Now, homes in South Carolina are going to be, on average, just a little bit cheaper, even if you're in humid areas like Myrtle Beach, or if you're in the center of the state like Greenville or Columbia. But honestly, if you're looking at North Carolina as a comparison, the big cities like Charlotte and Raleigh still have some great value if you know where to look. And some of the not so big cities have some spectacular value, again, if you know where to look. Now, whether you're looking at North Carolina or South Carolina, whether you're looking at Charlotte or Charleston, Asheville or Greenville, Wilmington or Myrtle Beach, the biggest thing that most people who are trying to buy a home miss is looking at the best deals. And that's the price drops, builder incentives, and the homes that never hit Zillow, either because the sellers don't want them to be on public sites or because they sell before they even get a chance to hit Zillow, which is actually why I created the Carolina Homes watch list. And you can actually scan the code or tap below, and I'm going to text you a link to the latest deals that I'm tracking, and you can unlock access instantly because I'll text it to you because your phone's probably either in your hand or next to you right now. Consider it my gift to help with your Carolina home search. Now, affordable homes without the bidding wars, South Carolina is going to just barely edge out North Carolina for this one, but cheap homes do not matter if you can't find a job. So let's talk jobs, because as much as I would love it, sunshine does not pay the bills if you're in a super specific field. Well, South Carolina shines in aerospace, tourism, and advanced manufacturing. Charleston's no joke. And a lot of people in South Carolina love this because, in general, a lot of the state isn't crazy about big business. But North Carolina has strong tech, banking, healthcare, manufacturing, and education sectors. So overall, this is going to be a tie for both of the Carolinas, because really what wins is what sectors you're looking for, because it's very niche for both states, and it really depends on what industries you have a career in. So let's shift from job offers to report cards, because if you got kids, this one's going to matter for you. Now, North Carolina has stronger public K through 12 districts and powerhouse universities like UNC and Duke. And South Carolina does have a few strong schools, but not the same depth. Clemson fans, please don't lynch me in the comments. So North Carolina is going to win out just a little bit with smarter schools, stronger colleges. Now it's time to take a look at hospitals just in case. And this one could be a deal breaker, especially for families, retirees, and health conscious people. And actually, I've learned a lot about healthcare in both North and South Carolina. My girlfriend's in med school, and she has spent extensive time for school in both North and South Carolina. And what you must know is that both states have strong urban care and weaker rural options. And so North Carolina may edge out slightly in the medical infrastructure because both Charlotte and Raleigh are massive hubs, but not enough for a full points. Now, as much as I want to give this to North Carolina, we're going to leave this one as a tie because it really depends on where you are in the state. So let's lighten it up a little bit with sunshine or snow. For me, weather was actually the biggest thing that I noticed when I moved to the Carolinas from up north. And South Carolina is a bit warmer. It's a bit more temperate, and you're going to feel some of that temperate weather for a bit longer. But North Carolina is also very temperate, but when you're looking at, especially up in the mountains, it will have more seasons for you to enjoy, but it can flip cold quick. So if you want a little bit more warmth, a little bit more temperate winters, South Carolina is going to win, but they are both pretty temperate. But warmth won't help if you're stuck in traffic. So transportation, is a car required here, or can you actually get around without one? And I'm going to just put this really simply. You need a car in the Carolinas. In North Carolina, sure, there's a little bit of public transportation with Charlotte's light rail network, and in Raleigh and, the other metros, there are some buses. In South Carolina, forget about it. You're car dependent everywhere. Overall, I'm going to say this is a tie, maybe a slight favor to Charlotte if you're looking for walkable areas. But if you're looking for something that actually is going to feel like a real city vibes, if you're looking for that nightlife, pro sports, or a skyline, I remember when I first moved to the Carolinas, I immediately noticed that Charlotte and Raleigh were really the only areas that bring a real city feel. And South Carolina does have some cities that are charming, and Greenville and Charleston in particular have a cult-like following of all the people that absolutely adore Charleston. But South Carolina cities are smaller, so for urban living, North Carolina wins hands down. And if you're coming from a real city and you're looking for a real city or easy access to real city amenities, Charlotte's really your only option. And if I'm wrong on this, if you want to defend Raleigh or Charleston or anywhere else, please tell me what it is that I'm missing down in the comments below. I would love to hear your perspective and see our community of Carolina natives and Carolina residents share their experiences with anyone considering moves so you can get the full story. South Carolina has one ace up its sleeve, and that's going to be some of these cities with a soul, because that's the number one complaint people have about Charlotte. I disagree with, but people have, is that Charlotte feels kind of soulless. And even one city can change the vibe of an entire state. Now, honestly, I didn't even notice this until I'd lived here for a while, but it's worth noting. Charleston is a place where you can wander down historic cobblestone streets in the morning and relax on the beach in the afternoon. It's a city that blends a rich history and famous food scene with a laid-back coastal lifestyle. Myrtle Beach, also in South Carolina, is all about the vacation lifestyle, offering 60 miles of beautiful coastline right at your doorstep for year-round beach living. My girlfriend's parents live in Myrtle Beach, so I've been there so much. It's a place that combines the energy of a popular tourist destination with some surprisingly affordable and laid-back community vibes. But in North Carolina, Wilmington offers a unique blend of city and coastal living, where you can explore a vibrant historic riverfront downtown and then still be sunbathing on a nearby beach just a short drive, 10-15 minutes later. It's also famous for a long history as a filming location, which has earned it the nickname of Hollywood East. We'll put it on the screen, all the different things that have been filmed there. It's really impressive. Now, South Carolina has some extra coastal charm, but it's not even counting all the beaches. So next up, coastline and the beaches. You won't notice this until you get a chance to actually live here and have a free weekend. But in South Carolina, you realize that the beach towns are way more accessible with shorter drives, and famous spots like Hilton Head and Myrtle Beach are just never too far away. North Carolina's coast is quieter, more spread out, and depending on where you might call home in the state, it could be a lot further to go to the beach. Now, like I said, Eden, my girlfriend, lives in Asheville and her parents are in Myrtle Beach. The drive from Asheville to Myrtle Beach is a hike. It is so far. So if you want to be close to the beach, South Carolina is going to be the way to go, or way to the east of North Carolina. But I will say North Carolina does have one ace up its sleeve, and that is if you're craving fall colors and cabin weekend getaways, this one is going to be super easy for me. North Carolina is such an experience in the fall time. I love to hike with my girlfriend and Penny, my puppy, and we go out to the Blue Ridge Mountains, Blue Ridge Parkway, Boone, Hendersonville, Asheville, Brevard, all over. And the Blue Ridge Parkway in particular is magical in the fall. Tourists come from everywhere across the country, around the world, just enjoy the colorful leaves and local craft beer and mountain breweries, and it's a whole thing. South Carolina, I will say, it's got a few hills, it's got some places to walk outside, but it is not remotely the same. And even the parks in North Carolina are just hands down way better. Now, nature is cool, but what if you want to get away and just be a tourist in your own state for a weekend? Well, if you want to live a never-ending vacation, South Carolina admittedly is going to dominate here because between beaches, festivals, golf, family spots, it's got a lot to do. And every time I go down to Myrtle Beach, it's a lot of fun. And North Carolina admittedly has some very fun towns, very fun spots, and a surprising amount of stuff to do. But South Carolina, especially along the coast, is built for vacationers. And spots like Myrtle Beach and Charleston attract massive crowds of tourists year-round, and townies are honestly really rare. So if you want to live somewhere where you can treat every weekend like it's vacation, South Carolina, vacation vibes year-round, hands down, it's where you're going to want to be. But come Sunday night, who's playing in the big leagues? If you're looking to catch some sports action, this one is a slam dunk, because North Carolina has the Panthers, the Hornets, Charlotte FC, the Canes, and countless other minor league teams in addition to all the major league teams. South Carolina has some very spirited college sports and minor league teams, as North Carolina does, but no major league teams. And so everything except for the Canes are in Charlotte. And so North Carolina, especially Charlotte, if you're looking for big leagues, big games, it's the place to be. But if you want to be safe, where's the place to be? Where the people you love most going to feel safer walking at night? It really depends on the neighborhood, depends on the city, depends on the town. But stats are going to overall lean slightly in North Carolina's favor, especially if you look at, the average areas that people live, not just a blend of tourist zones and everywhere else. North Carolina takes a slight edge in safety. But safety is only one part of the overall picture, and the overall picture is the lifestyle, right? You want somewhere that's going to be calm and quiet, or do you want somewhere that's going to have some hustle and some grind? South Carolina is slower paced, and especially along the coasts, it's just more of a vacation vibe. But North Carolina is going to give you some options, whether you're looking for urban, you got Charlotte and Raleigh. You're looking for rural, most of the state, or even the mountains, Asheville, all the towns around there, they're going to have something for everybody. No matter what your personality is, you can find it. Now, a big part of personality and the overall vibe is going to be politics, right? So purple state or deep red. North Carolina is a swing state with a ton of diversity in views. In fact, it is the most purple state. This was one of the most surprising things I learned after I moved here, is a third of people lean red, a third of people lean blue, and a third of people are independent. But if you go south of the border down to South Carolina, it leans very, very deep red. Now, which of those sounds better really depends on what you're looking for. But when it comes to the feel of someplace that you want to live, we got to talk about the culture, because sweet tea, barbecue, and Southern soul, both states have very deep roots, traditions, and warmth. I remember shortly after I started dating my girlfriend, going to Bojangles for the first time. Go get a sweet tea with the spicy Cajun chicken biscuit. I always hated sweet tea growing up, anytime that I was forced to try it. And down here is a way of life, and I've learned that I actually really like it. North Carolina might feel a little bit more modern, especially in the, like Charlotte or Raleigh, just because they're bigger cities. But in South Carolina, it will feel a little bit more traditional. But I will say both states are very proud of having a deep, rich history, and they're very welcoming, and they have a nice taste of Southern hospitality. I would say North Carolina is more Southern, and South Carolina is on the edge of the true South. So it's kind of, a state that's very Southern versus the South. So who wins overall? Which state is perfect? Well, there's no perfect state. There's just the right one for you. So if you want mountain city life and job variety, North Carolina might be your spot. But if you want beach towns, lower costs, coastal charm, someplace a little bit more traditional, South Carolina might be calling your name. But after learning all of this, whether you want to move to North Carolina or South Carolina, check out the Carolina home watch list so you can see some of the best deals that might never hit the market and get a feel for what's out there and which might be a better fit for you. And if you're still not sure where you want to move, you can take my free Carolina Cities quiz, which you just answer a few quick questions, and I will rank which of the Carolina cities might be the best fit for you. And if you're trying to find the perfect place to move here, none of this video actually matters if you get here and discover that you actually just hate it. Check out this video for the brutally honest top 5 regrets that I had after moving here. And if you can deal with it, then it might be the right place for you. And if you can't, then do not move here. But watch that and see if this might be the wrong place for you to move.